Are you eating healthy foods like ginger and still struggling with low energy, stubborn weight gain, or achy joints? You're not alone. And here's what's really going on inside your body. Chronic inflammation is one of those silent root causes that doesn't show up as a sharp pain and then vanish. Instead, it simmers quietly, keeping your liver taxed, your insulin high, your fat cells whispering store, not burn, and your hormones jangling in an unhelpful key. We know ginger is touted as an anti-inflammatory spice, and it does have real biological activity. Studies show it lowers markers like TNF alpha, IL-6, and C-reactive protein. But, and this is key, the truth is, ginger alone usually doesn't move the needle on the kind of inflammation that drives insulin resistance, fatty liver, hormonal imbalance, and fat storage. It's a valuable tool, but by itself, not enough. So the mission today, I'm going to show you why ginger alone isn't enough, what you must add to it to kill inflammation at the root, and how this fits into a metabolic, hormone-smart, fat-burning, longevity-driven system. Here's what we'll uncover: what ginger does and what it does not do physiologically, how inflammation rages in your liver, in your fat tissue, in your hormonal signaling, and how it relates to insulin, cortisol, fat cells. The secret partner spice/nutrient you add to ginger so that the effects become synergistic/amplified. A simple protocol of timing, foods, lifestyle tweaks so this added strategy fits into the real life of someone serious about metabolic health. By the end, you'll understand. Yes, keep the ginger, but pair it, leverage it, integrate it in a broader system. Because you're not just chasing less inflammation, you're restoring your metabolic engine so your body can burn fat, regulate hormones, and preserve lean tissue into your 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond. Let us start with what ginger actually does once it enters your body. Think of it as a molecular messenger rather than a magic bullet. When you consume ginger, its key bioactive compounds, gingerols and shogals, begin interacting with enzymes and receptors that govern inflammation. Here is what is really happening inside your body. These compounds can suppress the activity of nuclear factor kappa B, which is the molecular switch that tells your immune system to start releasing inflammatory cytokines. So yes, ginger turns down that switch slightly, which is why it can reduce mild inflammation or soothe digestive discomfort. But there is a reason why people drink ginger tea daily and still battle chronic inflammation, belly fat, or fatigue. The truth is that inflammation is not just a surface reaction in one tissue, it is a network effect spread through your liver, gut, and adipose tissue. Imagine your metabolism as a city where ginger turns off one alarm, but other alarms keep ringing in different districts. The liver may still be overwhelmed by toxins, your fat cells may still be releasing inflammatory signals called adipokines, and your cortisol may still be high due to stress or poor sleep. That means the system remains inflamed even though one pathway is quieter. Here is a simple analogy. Think of inflammation like a fire spreading across dry grass. Ginger is like sprinkling a small amount of water on one patch. It helps locally, but does not stop the rest from burning. What you truly need is both water and a barrier that prevents new sparks from spreading. In biological terms, that means combining ginger with compounds that support liver detoxification, balance insulin, and restore antioxidant defenses. Recent research highlights this exact principle. A 2024 clinical review published in Frontiers in Nutrition found that while ginger supplementation reduced C-reactive protein and interleukin-6, the results were magnified when combined with curcumin, omega-3 fatty acids, or antioxidants from vegetables. In simple terms, the body responds best when multiple anti-inflammatory pathways are supported at once. This is where so many people go wrong. They focus on single nutrients rather than the internal network of balance. Your liver, for example, needs to clear out inflammatory byproducts every day. If that detoxification slows, toxins accumulate, and the immune system stays on high alert. So if you sip ginger tea but eat processed foods, have unstable blood sugar, or stay sedentary, the effect is like trying to fix a leaky roof with a single nail. The better strategy is to make ginger part of a metabolic stack. Pair it with foods that activate liver enzymes like turmeric, cruciferous vegetables, or green tea. Add omega-3 rich fish or flax seeds to calm fat cell signaling. Make sure you are hydrated and sleeping deeply, since even mild dehydration and sleep debt can reignite inflammatory pathways through cortisol and insulin dysregulation. When ginger becomes part of a system rather than a solo player, it stops being a mild spice and starts being a metabolic tool. The difference is understanding physiology instead of chasing isolated remedies. And that is where our next section takes us: the deeper roots of inflammation that hide in your liver and fat tissue, and why they resist change until you address them from within. Here is what is really going on inside your body when inflammation becomes chronic. Your liver, your fat cells, and your immune system begin to work in a feedback loop that quietly drives metabolic chaos. The liver, which should act like your body's detoxification hub, becomes sluggish under the constant pressure of processed foods, high insulin levels, and environmental toxins. When that happens, your liver's ability to break down inflammatory molecules slows down dramatically. Now think of your liver as the city's waste management system. When it runs efficiently, the streets are clean, the air is clear, and energy flows freely. But when the system gets overloaded, waste starts piling up, blocking pathways, slowing metabolism, and triggering immune alarms. Those immune alarms release inflammatory cytokines that circulate throughout your body, telling fat cells to store rather than release energy. That is why inflammation and weight gain often travel together. The fat cells themselves do not stay quiet either. When they grow beyond their natural capacity, they begin to act like endocrine organs, secreting hormones and inflammatory messengers. One of these messengers, tumor necrosis factor alpha, directly interferes with insulin signaling. As a result, your muscles stop absorbing glucose efficiently, your pancreas produces even more insulin, and your blood sugar stays high. High insulin then promotes more fat storage, and the cycle tightens like a vise. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine each fat cell as a warehouse. When it is small, it stores supplies neatly and efficiently. But as it overfills, workers inside panic and start sending distress signals, chemical messages that call for help. Those distress signals are inflammation. So the larger and more stressed your fat cells become, the louder the inflammatory noise grows across your whole system. Ginger alone can quiet part of that noise, but it cannot rebuild the city infrastructure. It does not reactivate sluggish liver enzymes or repair damaged insulin receptors. That is why pairing ginger with curcumin from turmeric makes such a difference. Curcumin operates on the same inflammatory switches, nuclear factor kappa B, and cyclooxygenase enzymes, but it also enhances liver detoxification and improves insulin sensitivity. A 2024 review in the Journal of Functional Foods confirmed that combining ginger and curcumin produces stronger reductions in inflammatory markers compared to either compound alone. The researchers observed improved liver enzyme profiles, lower fasting insulin, and enhanced antioxidant status after just 8 weeks of combined supplementation. That is not coincidence. It is synergy. When you combine these two, you are supporting multiple nodes of your metabolic network. Ginger calms cytokine release, while curcumin accelerates liver detoxification and stabilizes insulin signaling. Together, they help the system cool down from every angle. What the research shows is that your liver health ultimately determines how effectively you can extinguish inflammation. So the real solution is not only anti-inflammatory foods, but also the restoration of metabolic flow. Supporting your liver with hydration, cruciferous vegetables, intermittent fasting, and steady glucose control transforms ginger from a mild helper into a powerful ally. If you begin thinking this way, addressing the root causes instead of just chasing symptoms, you will start to feel the deeper kind of healing that modern medicine too often overlooks. Because when your liver breathes freely, your metabolism becomes lighter, your hormones recalibrate, and energy returns with surprising ease. Now let us look at another hidden piece of this inflammatory puzzle: your gut. It is where the conversation between your immune system, metabolism, and hormones begins. Roughly 70% of your immune cells live along your intestinal lining. That means the gut is not just a digestive organ. It is a command center deciding whether your body stays calm or goes into defense mode. When this lining becomes irritated or porous, the immune system senses danger and starts releasing inflammatory cytokines, the same molecules ginger tries to silence. Here is what is really happening inside your body. When your gut barrier weakens, microscopic fragments from food and bacteria slip through into the bloodstream. The immune system recognizes these fragments as invaders, setting off a constant low-grade alarm. This condition, often called metabolic endotoxemia, keeps inflammation simmering 24 hours a day. It disturbs insulin signaling, slows metabolism, and forces the liver to process more toxins. Let me explain with a simple analogy. Imagine your gut as a fine sieve designed to let only nutrients through. Over time, processed foods, excess alcohol, and chronic stress stretch its holes wider. Now, instead of filtering nutrients, it allows debris to leak into your bloodstream. Your immune system responds as if under attack, deploying inflammatory troops that never fully stand down. That is why ginger alone cannot end inflammation. It helps calm the troops, but cannot repair the fence. To truly rebuild that barrier, you need to nourish the gut wall and rebalance the gut microbiome. Research published in Nutrients in early 2025 showed that combining ginger with curcumin and a probiotic strain called Lactobacillus plantarum significantly reduced intestinal permeability and systemic inflammation. The study participants also saw improved insulin sensitivity and better lipid profiles, proving how the gut and metabolism are inseparable. So, how can you apply this knowledge in real life? Begin pairing ginger with foods that feed your beneficial gut bacteria. Fiber from vegetables, polyphenols from berries, and fermented foods like yogurt or kimchi create a prebiotic-probiotic synergy that rebuilds your intestinal defense wall. Curcumin supports this by reducing oxidative stress in the gut lining, while black pepper's compound piperine enhances curcumin absorption, making the combination even more potent. Here's another powerful insight. Stress itself alters gut permeability through cortisol. When you are constantly tense, your body diverts blood flow away from digestion and into the muscles, weakening the gut barrier further. That is why anti-inflammatory nutrition must always be paired with relaxation signals, slow breathing, mindful meals, adequate sleep. When your nervous system calms, your gut barrier tightens, and the immune system finally stands down. The real victory is not just having less inflammation, but restoring inner balance, where your liver, gut, and hormones cooperate instead of compete. Once the gut is healed, the body's energy regulation shifts dramatically. And in the next section, we will explore how hormones, particularly insulin and cortisol, either extinguish or reignite inflammation depending on your daily habits. Let us move deeper into the hormonal dimension of inflammation. Inside your body, hormones act like a communication network, constantly transmitting messages about energy use, stress, and repair. When this network is balanced, your body efficiently burns fuel, detoxifies waste, and repairs tissue. When it is not, every system becomes confused. Two hormones, insulin and cortisol, play the most decisive roles in whether inflammation fades or intensifies. Here is what is really going on inside your body. Every time you eat, your pancreas releases insulin to help shuttle glucose into your cells. Under normal conditions, this process works smoothly. But if your cells are already flooded with energy, or if inflammation has disrupted their receptors, insulin cannot deliver the message effectively. The pancreas then releases even more insulin, thinking the cells did not hear the signal. This chronic elevation of insulin, known as hyperinsulinemia, not only drives fat storage but also keeps the inflammatory machinery turned on. Now add cortisol, your primary stress hormone, into the picture. Cortisol's job is to help you survive immediate threats. It raises blood sugar, sharpens focus, and redirects energy toward muscles. But when stress is unending through poor sleep, emotional strain, or excessive caffeine, cortisol levels stay high. This state suppresses immunity in the short term, yet fuels inflammation over time by breaking down muscle tissue, raising blood sugar, and increasing belly fat. It becomes a vicious circle. More stress, more cortisol, more insulin, more inflammation. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your metabolism as a thermostat designed to keep your internal environment stable. Insulin and cortisol are like two dials on that thermostat. When they are well tuned, the system runs quietly. But when both are stuck on high, the room overheats. Ginger alone is like opening one small window. It helps, but the dials still need adjustment. That is where curcumin again proves invaluable. Multiple studies, including one published in the Journal of Endocrine Research in 2024, show that curcumin improves insulin receptor sensitivity and helps lower fasting insulin levels. It also modulates the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, the control center for cortisol, allowing stress hormones to normalize more quickly. When paired with ginger, which enhances blood flow and reduces oxidative damage, the hormonal balance begins to reset. But science is only half of the story. Your daily habits determine how those hormones behave moment to moment. A diet built around unprocessed foods, moderate protein, and slow-burning carbohydrates helps stabilize insulin release. Pairing ginger tea or a turmeric ginger tonic with protein-rich meals can further blunt post-meal glucose spikes. Equally important is how you start and end your day. Exposure to natural morning light lowers cortisol and improves insulin sensitivity, while calm evening routines like herbal tea, deep breathing, or stretching help cortisol taper off before sleep. What the research shows is that real anti-inflammatory success does not come from one herb or supplement, but from synchronizing your hormonal rhythm. When insulin and cortisol operate in harmony, inflammation subsides naturally, fat metabolism reactivates, and the liver resumes its cleansing work without strain. In our next section, we will connect this hormonal balance to nutrient synergy, how pairing specific foods with ginger amplifies its anti-inflammatory potential and turns an ordinary meal into a metabolic intervention. Now that we have explored how hormones shape inflammation, let us turn to the practical side of synergy, the way specific nutrients and food combinations multiply ginger's power. Ginger is a strong foundation, but its full potential unfolds only when paired with the right partners at the right time. Here's what is really happening inside your body when you eat strategically. The compounds in ginger, such as 6-gingerol and 6-shogal, require a supportive biochemical environment to be absorbed effectively and to reach the tissues where inflammation lives. When you consume ginger by itself, especially in small amounts like tea, much of it gets metabolized before it can circulate widely. But when you combine ginger with compounds that extend its half-life, such as piperine from black pepper or curcumin from turmeric, absorption improves several-fold. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of ginger as a skilled worker who needs access to a construction site. Piperine is the key card that opens the gate. Without it, ginger's impact is limited to the lobby, but once inside, it can rebuild the structure, quieting cytokines, calming the immune system, and improving blood flow where repair is needed. A 2025 analysis in Frontiers in Pharmacology demonstrated that combining ginger and curcumin with black pepper resulted in a 3-fold increase in anti-inflammatory activity compared to either ingredient alone. Participants reported reduced joint stiffness, better digestion, and improved fasting glucose levels within 12 weeks. This effect stems from piperine's ability to inhibit certain liver enzymes temporarily, allowing the active compounds in both spices to remain in the bloodstream longer. But synergy does not stop there. When you add antioxidant-rich foods like leafy greens, berries, and green tea, you are layering multiple protective systems. Each nutrient family activates different genetic switches inside your cells. Ginger influences NRF2 pathways that control antioxidant defenses, while the polyphenols in green tea activate AMP-activated protein kinase, a metabolic master switch that tells the body to burn rather than store energy. Combined, these pathways lower oxidative stress and help the liver detoxify inflammatory waste more efficiently. Timing also matters. Taking a ginger curcumin pepper blend or tea with meals that include healthy fats, like avocado, olive oil, or nuts, enhances absorption of the fat-soluble compounds. Evening intake may further support inflammation control because that is when cortisol naturally declines and repair hormones rise. Here is a simple example you can visualize. A warm evening tonic made of ginger, turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, and a teaspoon of coconut oil. This mixture provides the molecular environment that maximizes bioavailability while supporting the liver's nighttime detox cycle. Over time, this daily rhythm helps lower systemic inflammation and improves recovery, digestion, and sleep quality. What the research shows is that inflammation is not defeated by force, it is quieted by cooperation. The nutrients you combine decide how your genes express themselves, how your hormones respond, and how your liver cleanses. By respecting those biological rules, ginger becomes more than a spice. It becomes part of a living strategy that rewires how your body heals itself. Let us now move from food synergy to the cellular level, where energy and inflammation meet. Every feeling of fatigue, joint stiffness, or metabolic slowdown can be traced back to one key player inside your body, the mitochondria. These tiny organelles are your power plants, converting nutrients into usable energy. When they run efficiently, you feel vibrant and resilient. When they falter, your cells begin producing excess reactive oxygen species, triggering chronic inflammation from within. Here's what is really happening inside your body. Inflammation is both a cause and a consequence of mitochondrial dysfunction. When toxins, poor diet, or stress damage these energy factories, they start leaking free radicals, unstable molecules that signal danger to your immune system. The immune system responds by sending inflammatory messengers to clean up the debris. But if this continues daily, the cleanup crew never leaves, and inflammation becomes the new normal. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine each mitochondrion as a power generator in a city. When it runs well, it supplies smooth, clean energy. When neglected, it starts to sputter, releasing smoke that pollutes the air. That smoke is oxidative stress, and ginger happens to be one of nature's filters. It helps clear the smoke. But filters alone cannot solve the issue if the generators themselves are malfunctioning. They need maintenance, fuel, and cooling systems. That is where nutrient synergy comes in. Curcumin and ginger together protect mitochondria in two ways. First, they reduce oxidative stress by activating a cellular defense pathway called NRF2. Second, they stimulate mitochondrial biogenesis, the creation of new, healthier mitochondria. 2025 study published in Cellular Metabolism and Health found that participants who consumed a daily combination of ginger, turmeric, and omega-3 fatty acids showed a 30% increase in mitochondrial efficiency and a significant drop in inflammatory markers. This confirms what functional medicine has emphasized for years. Inflammation is not just an immune issue, it is an energy crisis at the cellular level. This is why lifestyle patterns are as crucial as the nutrients themselves. Regular movement, especially walking after meals, signals the body to keep mitochondria active. Fasting periods give mitochondria time to clear out damaged components through a process called autophagy. Quality sleep allows mitochondrial DNA to repair itself, and sunlight exposure boosts mitochondrial enzymes that regulate energy production. When these habits align with anti-inflammatory nutrition, your energy output increases and inflammation steadily declines. Here is where ginger again plays a subtle yet vital role. Its compounds improve circulation, ensuring oxygen and nutrients reach cells more efficiently. Enhanced blood flow feeds mitochondria with what they need to generate energy cleanly. Pair that with curcumin's role in improving insulin sensitivity, and you have a system where energy delivery and energy use are synchronized. Less waste, less stress, less inflammation. Yes. What the research shows is simple yet profound. Inflammation cannot survive in a well-energized body. When mitochondria thrive, every organ benefits. Your liver detoxifies more efficiently, your hormones balance naturally, and your immune system learns to stand down. Ginger, curcumin, and nutrient synergy form the nutritional backbone of this renewal. We have now looked at ginger, the liver, the gut, hormones, and cellular energy separately. In this section, let us weave them together because true healing happens only when every system speaks the same biochemical language. Your body does not operate in parts. It functions as a living network where every message, molecule, and meal choice influences the others. Here's what is really going on inside your body. When you eat something anti-inflammatory like ginger, that signal travels through your digestive tract, reaches your bloodstream, and touches nearly every organ. The liver receives it first, where detoxification enzymes activate. The gut microbiome senses it next, adjusting which bacteria multiply. Those bacteria, in turn, produce short-chain fatty acids that calm the immune system. Meanwhile, balanced insulin and cortisol levels stabilize mitochondrial performance, ensuring energy is produced efficiently and cleanly. Think of your metabolism as an orchestra. Ginger may be the violin, clear, sharp, and elegant, but without percussion, brass, and strings working in harmony, the melody loses depth. Curcumin adds rhythm, black pepper adds amplification, and lifestyle choices, sleep, hydration, sunlight, provide the steady tempo. Together, they create a physiological symphony that rewires your body from reactive to resilient. Let me explain with a simple analogy. Imagine inflammation as background noise in a crowded room. Each intervention, ginger, turmeric, clean nutrition, better sleep, turns down a separate volume knob. When you adjust all of them together, silence emerges. That silence is healing. Recent research continues to confirm this interconnectedness. 2025 analysis in the International Journal of Integrative Medicine found that individuals who practiced nutritional synergy, combining anti-inflammatory spices, whole food diets, and moderate fasting, experienced up to 40% reductions in inflammatory markers compared to those using supplements in isolation. More importantly, these participants reported improved energy, better focus, and deeper sleep, the natural outcomes of systemic harmony. Now consider how this fits into daily living. Start mornings with hydration and gentle movement to signal your cortisol rhythm. Break your fast with protein, healthy fats, and a ginger turmeric tea to steady insulin. Midday, keep blood sugar steady with fiber-rich vegetables and green tea. At night, unwind with a warm ginger curcumin drink and quiet breathing, giving your liver and mitochondria a peaceful window to repair. None of these steps are complicated, but together they restore communication between your organs and hormones, dismantling inflammation at its roots. What the research shows is that inflammation fades fastest when every system supports the others. A calm gut reduces liver stress. A healthy liver regulates hormones. Balanced hormones feed mitochondrial energy, and steady mitochondria keep inflammation silent. This is not magic. It is biology working the way it was designed to. Now we arrive at the final layer, the transformation that happens when consistency turns science into biology. You have learned that ginger alone cannot defeat inflammation, but within a coordinated lifestyle, it becomes a catalyst for systemic repair. The real breakthrough comes not from a single nutrient, but from repetition, rhythm, and restoration, because your body adapts to what you do consistently, not occasionally. Here is what is really happening inside your body when you stay consistent. Every organ has its own biological clock, from the liver to the gut to the mitochondria. When your daily choices repeat in a stable rhythm, consistent meal times, regular sleep, and balanced nutrition, these clocks begin to synchronize. The result is smoother communication between insulin, cortisol, and your circadian repair hormones. In that synchronized state, your metabolism burns cleaner fuel, your cells detoxify more efficiently, and inflammatory markers start dropping naturally. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your body as a vast network of traffic lights across a city. When they are all out of sync, congestion and accidents happen everywhere. But when the timing is restored, the city flows quietly, efficiently, and peacefully. That is exactly what happens when you keep inflammation-lowering practices